There's a question that has haunted humanity since the first moment we looked up at the starry sky and wondered, what happens next? But today I'm going to ask you an even more disturbing question. Where are the souls of those who committed history's greatest horrors? Those who destroyed millions of lives, who spread terror like a plague? Where are they now? Have you ever stopped to think that somewhere, on some plane of existence, the soul of Hitler might be? The soul of Stalin? Of all those who turned Earth into a hell for other human beings? If you believe they simply vanished after death, you're about to discover a truth that will keep you awake for weeks. If you're brave enough to face this truth, hit that like button now and subscribe to the channel, because what you're about to discover today could completely change your perception of justice, the universe, and the destiny of the human soul. Share this video with someone else who also seeks answers to life's big questions. Over a century ago, there lived a man with an extraordinary and unsettling gift. Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, performed over 14,000 documented psychic readings throughout his life. Doctors, scientists, and skeptics from all over the world traveled thousands of miles to witness something that defied all known logic. Cayce would enter a deep trance, a state between life and death, where his consciousness traveled to dimensions our waking mind could never reach. And it was in this state that he began to receive information about the destiny of souls, including those who committed unforgivable acts. His revelations were so disturbing that many of his followers asked him to stop. Some destroyed the recordings, others simply pretended they never heard them. But the information remained, waiting for someone brave enough to share it with the world. Forget everything you've learned about hell. There are no cauldrons of eternal fire, no demons with pitchforks. The reality is infinitely more sophisticated and more terrifying. According to Cayce, when souls like Hitler cross the veil of death, they aren't sent to a place of punishment. They are sent to a place of learning. But what kind of learning could be appropriate for someone who destroyed millions of lives? Here's the part that will give you chills. They are placed before a cosmic mirror. But it's not just any mirror. It's a mirror that reflects every moment of suffering they caused through the eyes of their victims. Imagine for a second Hitler being forced to experience the terror of every child separated from their parents, the pain of every mother who lost her child, the despair of every person who died at his hands. But that's just the beginning. Close your eyes for a moment and try to imagine you're in a space without time, without physical form, just pure consciousness. Around you, millions of voices whisper. They are the voices of all those who suffered because of your actions. You cannot run. You cannot hide. You cannot lie to yourself. Every tear you caused now flows from your eyes. Every cry of pain you provoked now resonates in your soul. Every moment of terror you created now becomes your own experience, amplified millions of times. Cayce described these souls as being trapped in this state for periods our human mind cannot comprehend. Decades, centuries, millennia, experiencing every consequence of their actions through the eyes of those who suffered. But here's what's truly disturbing. Some of these souls refuse to learn. They become so consumed by their own pain that they start looking for ways to escape. And when they find a loophole, they come back. Not reborn as innocent babies, but attaching themselves to living people, influencing them, whispering in their ears, planting seeds of evil that grow like weeds in the human soul. Have you ever met someone who seemed to have a black hole where their eyes should be? Someone who radiated a chill that made you uncomfortable for no apparent reason? Perhaps now you understand why. But the story doesn't end there, and this is where Cayce's revelations become truly terrifying. You thought the cosmic mirror was the end? It was just the first level of a universal justice system our mind can barely comprehend. Cayce spoke of trapped levels, dimensions where these souls are imprisoned, not by iron bars, but by their own mental creations. Imagine a prison built entirely by your darkest thoughts, where every wall is made of your worst memories, every bar is formed by the hate you cultivated, and every chain is forged by the pain you inflicted. Hitler, according to these visions, isn't just reliving the suffering he caused. He's trapped in a dimension where his own ideology has turned against him, where he is simultaneously the perpetrator and the victim of his own system of hatred. An existence where he experiences being Jewish, gypsy, homosexual, disabled, all the categories of people he persecuted, but amplified by the intensity of his own wickedness. But here's what will make your blood run cold. These souls aren't completely isolated. They have moments of escape. Like prisoners who find security loopholes, some manage to project their influence back into our world. And when that happens, evil manifests in ways our society prefers to ignore. Have you ever wondered why certain atrocities seem to echo through time? Why patterns of genocide, torture, and cruelty repeat with almost mathematical precision in different eras and places? Cayce suggested that these aren't just unlearned lessons of history. They are direct influences from these trapped souls, whispering through the dimensional veil to receptive minds. And here's the part that frightens me the most. They're getting better at it. With the passage of time in these dimensions of suffering, some of these souls develop a kind of expertise in psychic manipulation. They learn to identify vulnerable people, fragmented minds, hearts full of anger or despair, and then they infiltrate. It's not possession in the Hollywood sense. It's something much more subtle and therefore much more dangerous. It's like an almost imperceptible voice whispering justifications for cruelty, a force that makes the unthinkable thinkable, that turns ordinary people into monsters, one decision at a time. Now I want you to think about something very personal, very intimate. Have you ever met someone who gave you the creeps for no apparent reason? Someone who, even smiling, made you feel like you were in the presence of something wrong? As if behind those eyes there was something that shouldn't be there? Perhaps it was a boss who seemed to enjoy humiliating employees. Maybe a neighbor you instinctively avoided. Or even someone in your own family, someone everyone described as difficult or problematic, but you knew it was something deeper, more disturbing. Cayce described these people as unconscious carriers, individuals who unknowingly carry fragments of influence from these imprisoned souls. They aren't bad people by nature. Often they are even victims, people who have experienced trauma, whose psychic protection has been weakened, who have become vulnerable to these subtle influences. And here's what will make you question everything. You yourself may have been influenced by this at some point in your life. Those dark thoughts that sometimes come out of nowhere, those impulses of cruelty that you quickly dismiss, but for a moment they scared you because they seemed so real, so tempting. Remember that time you felt disproportionate anger over something small? When for a second you imagined doing something terrible to someone who annoyed you? When you had a thought so dark you immediately wondered, where the hell did that come from? According to Cayce, these can be moments of dimensional leakage. Instances where the barrier between our reality and these dimensions of suffering becomes permeable. And for a few seconds, you feel the echo of someone's wickedness who died decades or centuries ago, but is still struggling to express their corrupted nature through any mind they find. This doesn't make you a bad person. In fact, the fact that you quickly reject these thoughts shows that your soul is intact. But imagine people who don't reject them, people who embrace these whispers, people who slowly, almost imperceptibly, start to feel that these dark thoughts make sense. And now think about the great criminals of recent history, the modern dictators, the serial killers who shock the world with their calculated coldness. How many of them do you think started as normal people, but were gradually molded by influences they didn't even know existed? It's a terrifying possibility, isn't it? The idea that evil isn't just an individual choice, but can be an external force that infiltrates the most vulnerable minds. That Hitler may have been dead for 80 years, but his influence still echoes through dimensions we cannot see, shaping events and people in ways our traditional science doesn't even consider possible. But now we come to the question that will split your mind in half. And I need you to really think about this, because this question can fundamentally change how you view justice, redemption, and the very nature of the human soul. If these souls are truly trapped in these dimensions of suffering, experiencing every pain they caused amplified infinitely, is that fair? Or is it just another kind of cosmic cruelty? Think about baby Hitler. innocent, vulnerable, not yet corrupted by the hate that would come to define him. Did that baby deserve eternal suffering? Or is there a point where even the most corrupted soul can find redemption? Cayce faced this moral dilemma in his most disturbing visions. He described moments where he witnessed the suffering of these trapped souls and felt compassion. Yes, compassion for Hitler, compassion for Stalin, compassion for all those who committed unimaginable atrocities. And it tormented him. How can you feel sorry for someone who caused so much suffering? How can you wish relief for a soul that destroyed millions of lives? Wouldn't that be a betrayal of the victims? Wouldn't it be an insult to the memory of the innocent who perished? But here's the revelation that broke Cayce's mind and might break yours. These trapped souls aren't just suffering. They are learning. Very slowly, through eons of pain and forced self-reflection, some of them begin to develop something they never had in life: true empathy. Imagine Hitler, after centuries of experiencing the suffering of each of his victims, finally understanding the magnitude of what he did. Not intellectually, as when he was alive and could rationalize his actions, but viscerally, emotionally, spiritually, feeling for the first time the real weight of every life he destroyed. And when that understanding finally arrives, when the corrupted soul finally completely understands the horror it created, something extraordinary happens. The dimension of suffering begins to dissolve, not because the suffering has ended, but because the soul is finally ready to carry that weight and transform it into something different. But here's the dilemma that will haunt you. What happens next? A soul that caused so much suffering, but now genuinely understands and regrets. Does it deserve a chance at redemption? Should it have the opportunity to make up for, in some way, the evil it did? And what if I told you that these souls, once they have gone through this process of total comprehension, often voluntarily choose to return to physical existence to dedicate multiple lives trying to repair the damage they caused? That they ask to be born into situations where they can serve, heal, protect those who are vulnerable. Does that change anything for you? To know that the soul that was once Hitler might now be incarnated as a doctor who dedicates their life to saving children, as a human rights activist, as someone who works tirelessly to ensure that atrocities like the Holocaust never happen again. Is it comforting or disturbing? The idea that even the most absolute evil can, eventually, find a way back to the light. Now the moment has come for you to discover something that can completely transform your existence. Because everything I've told you so far wasn't just to scare you or make you question the nature of reality. It was to prepare you for this revelation. You, yes, you who are watching this video now, have a power that can directly influence the destiny of these lost souls. Do you think it's just a coincidence that you're here at this moment, hearing these words? Cayce always said that there are no coincidences in the spiritual universe. Every soul that seeks knowledge about the mysteries of existence is being called to something greater. What if I told you that your inner light can serve as a beacon for these souls trapped in darkness? Think for a moment. When you cultivate genuine love, when you practice true compassion, when you choose kindness even when it's difficult, you're not just improving your own life. You are creating waves of positive energy that spread through dimensions your conscious mind cannot even imagine. Cayce described that ordinary people, through their daily acts of kindness and love, create what he called bridges of light. These bridges extend across dimensional barriers and reach even those souls who are trapped in the darkest levels of existence. Imagine, every time you forgive someone who hurt you, you are sending a message of hope to a soul that may have completely lost faith in the possibility of redemption. Every time you choose to help a stranger, you are demonstrating that kindness still exists in the world, and that demonstration echoes through the dimensions. But here's the part that will give you chills. Some of these lost souls have been attracted to your personal light. Not to harm you, but to observe you. To try to understand how it's possible for human beings to still choose good in a world full of suffering. Have you ever felt like you were being watched when you were alone? Moments where you felt a presence but couldn't explain what? Perhaps it wasn't paranoia. Perhaps it was a lost soul, observing through the veil, trying to understand your capacity for love, your choice for goodness. And do you know what's most incredible? Your simple existence as a person who seeks to be better can be serving as an inspiration for these souls to find motivation to continue their own process of healing and learning. You have the power to accelerate the redemption process of these souls, not through complicated rituals or advanced esoteric knowledge, but through your daily choices, through your decision to be a source of light in a world that sometimes seems dominated by darkness. And now we come to the deepest truth Cayce ever revealed, a truth so extraordinary that he himself hesitated to share it because he knew it would forever change how we view our role in the cosmos. These trapped souls, they are not waiting for God's judgment. They are not waiting for some external cosmic justice system. They are waiting for us, for you, for me, for every person who chooses to live with love instead of hate. Cayce saw something that left him in tears for days. He saw the exact moment when one of these lost souls finally found its way back to the light. And do you know what caused this transformation? It wasn't an angel. It wasn't an external divine force. It was the simple act of an ordinary person here, on earth, choosing to forgive their worst enemy. In that moment of genuine forgiveness, a bridge of light instantly formed across the dimensions, and a soul that had been trapped for centuries in its own hatred and suffering suddenly saw a way back home. Do you understand what that means? It means that every act of kindness, every moment of compassion, every choice of forgiveness you make doesn't just have consequences for your personal life. It has cosmic consequences. You are literally participating in the greatest redemption project in the universe. And here's the final revelation that will transform how you see your own existence. You are not here by chance. Your soul chose to be born at this specific moment in history because it knew it would be needed for this work. You are part of a generation of souls who volunteered to help with the great cosmic healing. Every challenge you've faced, every pain you've overcome, every moment when you could have chosen hate but chose love, all of it was preparation. Preparation for you to become strong enough to help carry the darkness of others and transform it into light. The most lost souls, including those who were once history's greatest tyrants, are counting on people like you to show them that redemption is possible. That no matter how deep the darkness someone has fallen into, there is always a way back. And when these souls finally find that path, when they finally free themselves from their dimensional prisons of hate and suffering, they don't simply disappear. They become some of the most powerful forces for good in the universe. Because those who know darkness most deeply are most determined to protect the light. If you've made it this far, if you've heard every word of this journey through the deepest mysteries of existence, then you already know. You know it wasn't luck or coincidence that brought you to this moment. You were called. At this very moment, as you hear these words, there are souls in dimensions we cannot see, observing through the veil, waiting to see what you will do with this knowledge. They are waiting to see if you will choose to be just another person who ignores their cosmic responsibility, or if you will accept your role as a beacon of light in a universe that desperately needs healing. Every like you give this video isn't just a click. It's a declaration to the cosmos that you understand. It's a sign to these lost souls that there is one more person willing to be part of the solution. It's your signature on the greatest redemption project the universe has ever seen. When you subscribe to this channel, you're not just following another content creator. You're joining a community of awakened souls who have understood their true mission here on Earth. People who know that we came here not just to live our small personal lives, but to participate in something infinitely greater. And when you share this video, you're not just spreading information. You're extending the network of light that can reach even the most lost souls. Every person who watches because of your share could be exactly the soul that was meant to hear this message at this specific moment in their journey. In the comments below, I want you to write just one word: ready. Because if you truly understood what was revealed here today, if you felt in your heart that this resonates as truth, then you are ready. Ready to accept that you are much more powerful than you ever imagined. ready to understand that your capacity to love and forgive can literally move dimensional mountains. And if you're scared, if part of you wants to ignore all this and go back to the safety of an ordinary life, I understand. But remember, fear is exactly what keeps these souls trapped in darkness. Your courage to face these truths, your courage to accept your cosmic responsibility, could be exactly what frees not only you, but also those who have been waiting for centuries for someone like you. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to get access to more stories like this. The universe is waiting for your answer. The lost souls are waiting for your light. And I am here, waiting to guide you deeper on this path of discovery and transformation.